Hi friends, I'm Pastor Diana. Welcome to a daily devotion. I'm so glad you paused in the midst of your day to spend some time with God. Today we are wrapping up our series on giving up expectations as part of our Lenten series of Giving It Up. We've been exploring with Abraham and Sarai, Abram and Sarai, or Abraham and Sarah, what it means to give up expectations and instead live by faith. We've explored how they trusted in God and had to learn a new land, how they had to offer God control instead of trying to make it fit in their box. We've talked about stealth expectations and what happens when we don't examine them and how they sometimes lead us to harm. And today we're going to talk about what it means to give up to react to things that don't go as planned. So we've talked about how one of God's promises to Abram was descendants and children, and how Abram and Sarai just didn't see that this was possible because they were so old and unable to get pregnant. And so listen to this story about a covenant and what it means. God said to Abraham, "As for your wife Sarai, you will no longer call her Sarai. Her name will now be Sarah. I will bless her and even give you a son from her. I will bless her so that she will become nations, and kings of peoples will come from her." Abram fell on his face and laughed. He said to himself, "Can a 100-year-old man become a father, or Sarah, a 90-year-old woman, have a child?" To God, Abraham said, "If only you would accept Ishmael." But God said, "No, your wife Sarah will give birth to a son for you, and you will name him Isaac. I will set up my covenant with him and with his descendants after him as an enduring covenant." So, here is God once again promising and being a little more detailed in what it means for Abram to have a child. And Abram's still arguing with God and bargaining with God and saying, "Dear God, can it be this way? Because this is so much easier. This is my expectation." And God says, "No, I have different expectations. I have different hopes and dreams." And that's what faith is. Faith in God is knowing that not everything is going to go perfect or as planned in your life. In fact, perfection may be momentary, but the promise we have is that God is present with us in all times, and God is at work in all things. Will they be hard? Yes. Will people be hurt? Probably. Will you be hurt? Maybe. But what it means is that when we put our faith in God, rather than expectations of control, it's then that we are able to discover new things and that we are able to see the world differently. So I wonder what expectation you need to give up, and what do you need to examine when you have an unmet expectation? Do you laugh like Abraham? Do you bargain? Do you scoff like Sarah does later in our story? Do you feel major disappointment and regret and bury that deep? Or do you examine that expectation? Do you talk about it? Do you try to understand what happened and how differing things happen so that you can move and things can become clearer in the future? Giving up expectations is hard because we all like things to go, I know I do, according to plan, or the way we think they should, or the way we want them to. But we live in a messy world, and that doesn't happen. So how do we get through it? Well, we give up expectation to make room for faith with God. Have a blessed day.